My pop-up, yeah, I have a tattoo of him actually on my arm up here. I don't know if you can see it. But this
Oh,
guy
that is so
was
awesome.
yeah, he was an incredible drummer. He played every instrument, but his thing was really the drums and the vibes and
Well, awesome. So this podcast is all about you and your journey in the music industry and how you got to where you are now. And of course, we'll talk about the new EP, which is incredible.
thank you so much.
You are very, very welcome. So first off, I saw you're born and raised, or at least born in New Jersey, right? Or born and raised in New
Yes,
Jersey.
born and raised in New Jersey, yeah, for the first 18 years of my life.
Oh wow, what was that like?
It was awesome. I had an amazing upbringing. I was surrounded by a lot of creatives and um, I had a lot of really great friends and got into making art at a young age there. So it was cool.
There's a lot of cool bands out of Jersey, and
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure the music scene when you're there as well was got to be pretty incredible.
Yeah, totally. I mean, so many of my friends even just were in the arts, like growing up, even just like in choir and in theater. It was cool.
That is cool. And when did
Yeah.
you get into music?
I didn't actually get into music. I mean, I started like I got my first guitar when maybe I was 14 and it was always a hobby, but it was a hobby along with the list of other things, painting and ceramics and dancing and theater. And it was nothing that I really ever considered pursuing as a career until I moved out to California just for fun because I thought it sounded cool. And I met I was like bartending at this restaurant and this guy became my friend. Long story short, he heard me sing one day when we were hanging out at my house, and he was like, "We should do something with that. You have a cool voice." And I was like, "Sounds good." And then he started managing me, and he's still my manager to this day.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah,
So you met when you're at you met this person when you were at work. You said bartending
we're
at a
yeah
restaurant.
we're yeah we were both bartending at the same restaurant. He had like done concert promotion and stuff, but he was in
Hmm.
college at the time, and we just like built this whole project from the ground up together.
That is incredible. Well, prior to moving
Yeah,
to LA, you didn't write songs at all, or you weren't doing
I
music
did.
like that? Okay.
I did in my bedroom, but it was like a shy hobby that I had that I didn't really share with people. It wasn't like something I was posting on social media or like advertising that I did. It was like this closeted thing I did by myself for fun and like to release my emotions. And I never thought I was good enough to do it for real, I guess.
Okay. So you when
Yeah.
did you start like even just doing that? Were you when you got the guitar at 14?
Yeah, yeah. I had a bunch of girlfriends that played guitar and I shattered my heel plates. I was a dancer, so I was like a
Okay.
pretty intense dancer for most of my upbringing. That's how I like got into the theatrics of even just like enjoying the stage. Um,
Okay.
and I got hurt, and so I had to stop dancing. And I think that's when I started hanging out with some of the more like theater leaning, music leaning kids because I couldn't dance anymore.
Mhm.
Um, and I mean, I guess the rest was kind of history.
Well, that must have been devastating to break you said shatter your heel?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
shattered both my heel plates.
and that
Hmm.
was kind of what you thought you were gonna do. I mean, it sounds like that was like
I
really where your passion was in the beginning.
Yeah, I definitely thought that I was going to be a dancer for the rest of my life, but I will say I'm pretty grateful that it happened when it did because I think the longevity of being a dancer is a lot shorter than the longevity of being a musician because your body can only withstand so much for so long,
Oh yeah. I mean,
you know?
dancing, gymnastics, a lot of that stuff where you're like really physical. Yeah.
Hmm.
I can see that
Totally.
being and yeah, exactly. Like not being able to be doing when you're in your 40s or 50s.
Totally. Yeah.
Huh. How old were you when you shattered your heels? Like how long had you been dancing for prior to that?
I mean, I started dancing when I was like 4 or 5, and I shattered my heels when I was a freshman in high school.
Oh, so right around
So
probably 14 years old when you got the
yeah,
guitar.
yep. Yeah, I got the
Wow.
guitar like that Christmas that after I broke my heels was when I got the guitar, and it was like my new outlet. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Hmm.
you probably had a lot to get out, especially
Hmm.
now everything you were working towards or you thought you
Yeah.
were working towards is kind of got pulled out from under
Hmm.
you.
Totally. I mean, and just being a teenage girl, I think inherently is so emotional. And so like there was always something that to write about. I mean, I wrote poetry too, for most of my life. My mom was always really into poetry. So I think I got that from her.
Were
And then the two things just kind of like came together.
anyone else musical in your family?
My pop-up, yeah, I have a tattoo of him actually on my arm up here. I don't know if you can see it. But this
Oh,
guy
that is so
was
awesome.
yeah, he was an incredible drummer. He played every instrument, but his thing was really the drums and the vibes. And um I get a lot of it from him. I mean, he taught me to play piano at a very young age, and he played violin, so I used to play violin with him. Um yeah.
So you could play violin and piano early on too?
Early on, yeah. I started playing violin, I don't know, maybe in like fourth grade or something like that. I guess I really was. I forget these things, but I guess I did do a lot.
It
I don't
sounds like
know.
you were kind of musical
Like,
growing up.
oh, wait a second.
So you played piano and violin early then?
Okay, fine. Yeah, I did.
Okay. But your grandfather is the one that kind of got you in that
Yeah,
involvement?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, he was an amazing musician. Yeah, he was the
Did you
best.
see him? Did he play like out live, or was it kind of just a thing that you saw around the house?
Yeah, man, he played out live like until his last days. It
Oh,
was really
wow.
cool. Yeah, he was a badass.
Do you have
Mhm.
any memories of going to see him?
I do. Yeah, he would play like just these cool local like outdoor, I mean, they're not like festivals. There's like these little events in Jersey, and he would be
Hmm.
ripping it on the vibes and the drums. Yeah,
That's
he
so
was cool.
cool. I love that you
Hmm.
have your grandfather's tattoo because I have my grandfather's signature on my wrist.
That's so special.
Yeah, he was my
I
favorite
love
person,
that.
so I think that's so cool
Yeah.
that you also have we share that. That's awesome. I love that.
Yes. Yes. That's so cool.
So okay, so you moved to LA at 18. Did you just why LA and being so close to New York? I'm sure that was an option, or like and why did you decide to come all the way out to the West Coast?
New York was definitely an option. I think my biggest fear, well, I had two fears with being in New York. One was that I wasn't going to grow enough and that I was going to sort of stick to the same circle of friends and I wasn't going to like evolve. And I felt like I really needed a new chapter of my life after high school.
Hmm.
And two, being that I wanted a place that was close to the ocean and warm all the time. And New York is certainly not either of those things.
There you go.
But I really had no idea what I wanted to do after high school. All my friends were getting accepted into colleges and they were like all excited, and I was getting accepted into colleges and nothing made me feel anything. And I remember being in my bedroom with one of my best friends. And she was just like joking with me and she was like, why don't you just move to LA? And I was like, that's it. And I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was it like telling your family, like, hey, I'm dipping. I'm going all the way across the whole entire country.
It was really cool because it was the first time that my mom had ever expressed to me that that was always her dream before she had me. So when I told her, she
Really?
kind of she got like teary eyed and she got excited because I think she felt like I was fulfilling this dream that she had longed for at a younger age. And
That's
like
really
she was able to
special.
send me off and do it. Yeah. Yeah. So they helped me move out here. They came out for like the first week that I was out here and they brought all my stuff out with me. And yeah.
Wow. Was your mom like she wanted to be like an aspiring actor or singer, or she just wanted to live in LA?
I think she just loved California. I mean, she's like a horse girl. She loves horses, and I think
Oh,
there's a
okay.
lot of beautiful land out here with a lot of
Oh,
great animals. I
for
mean, I don't
sure.
know. She loves it out here. I've been trying to get them out here since I turned 18 and moved out here. I'm like, finally, this is the year that they're like starting to look at stuff. They're like, okay, maybe we could move out there. I'm like, come on, guys, it's time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
funny. So once
Hmm.
this project starts, once you meet your manager through your job,
Hmm.
did you have like a particular song that you played for him, or and then that became like, oh, we should start working on this, and then how did Royal and the Serpent kind of develop at that point?
Yeah. So, I mean, I wrote a song the day that I moved to California. I wrote a
Mhm.
song in my hotel room while my parents were at The Price is Right. I'll never forget. And I so random. And that was the song. I had like one song written, I feel like. And that was the song that I played for my friend at the time a few years later.
Mhm.
It was called Stranger Love and it was about, I mean, it was about sex work really, which was crazy because at the time it was like, I mean, it's not something that I do, but I used to have this like fascination with it. And sort of like the controversy around it, especially then. I think it was a lot less talked about at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of my earlier stuff was about that. My next song that I wrote after that was about like strip clubs, and I ended up like going to a strip club and interviewing some of the strippers and like talking to them and like putting some of that in the song. And I don't know, none of these things ended up getting released. He just really thought that crazy that I had written these songs. He didn't believe that I wrote them, let alone like he thought I had a cool voice, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And it started with like opening up a journal
Mm-hmm.
every week, writing down our biggest goals and like every little thing we were going to do to reach those goals. So it was like, if your biggest goal is, let's say, I don't know, play the Super Bowl halftime show, then you break that down into like yearly goals, and then you break those yearly goals down into monthly goals, and then you break those monthly goals into like weekly tasks. So like one week it would be something as simple as get the E string changed on my guitar because it snapped, or play this open mic this week. And it was like little things slowly over time that throughout the years have brought us to where we are. I mean, we still have
Wow.
these meetings where we like talk about our goals and what we're going to do for the week. It's a lot different obviously now, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But that's wow, that's inspiring for people. I mean, to be like, okay, this is the ultimate goal, or I'm not sure what you're obviously playing the halftime show, right? The Super Bowl or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
breaking down each individual, like, how do you get to there? Okay, well, you do this, and then maybe if I
Mhm.
do this, and then kind of building up. It's
Mhm.
almost like you're creating like a written out, like more directed version of like a vision board. Like I believe in vision boards. I
Yes.
think they're
Mhm.
so helpful. I've interviewed a handful of artists that were like, and then like the one off the top of my head is this producer Slushy. He was like, I had this vision board and I had Marshmallow on it, and like now that he's like his right hand man. So it's just like these crazy things. So at that point, I'm like, I'm making a vision board, but
Yes. No,
but
it
that sounds
works.
similar.
Yeah, it's very similar. I mean, I think there's a huge power in writing things down and seeing things visually and doing things with our hands and our like brains together at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. I think it like cements it to the universe or
Right,
whatever
you're like getting it
we're a
out
part
there,
of.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
sure,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Well,
think the likelihood of things coming true when you write them down or when you can see them visually, I think like scientifically even or like statistically is like 90% higher. I'm making that number up, but there's
but it
a
sounds,
way
I mean,
higher
it sounds
chance.
right. It's
Yeah,
crazy because like it happens. It happens enough to
yeah.
where obviously if it was never happening, people wouldn't be doing
Mhm.
it. But wow. Okay. Well, I'm
Yeah.
real quick on those first songs that you wrote. What a creative idea to really go in. You almost were like a journalist going into the strip club and being like, okay, I'm going to interview these ladies and see, kind of get their story, and then you would go home and write a song about that
Mhm.
and kind of piece some of that together.
Yeah, I always had a fascination with anything that felt I guess left of center or like left of normal or like a little controversial or like drugs and sex and rock and
Mhm.
roll. Like there was just something always so fascinating about these topics to
Mhm.
me. And I think especially at that time too, there wasn't a whole lot going on in my life. Um, so it was nice to sort of have something else to write about.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When you started playing the open mic nights, once you kind of got this plan, like, okay, it's Royal the
Uh-huh.
Serpent, we're gonna get this plan going. Like, what was it like getting on stage and playing music for the first time is in front of people? I mean, going from a dancer to now you're like, okay, I got this guitar. I never really sang until I showed anyone my stuff until I got to LA, and now I'm gonna be on these stages. Like, how did
It
you?
was It was so terrifying. I was playing like little coffee shops to like 12 people and I was shaking, like shaking playing the guitar. It was so scary, but always so amazing and like the reception was always so great and I feel like I don't know, you just grow with every experience that you have and I've
Mhm.
always just tried to take it all and do better next time, you know?
I like that. And the amount of artists that you've worked with, like looking at just your discography of the people you've worked with is it's all the people I see on there. I'm like, wow, that's so cool that you had a chance to work with that person. You had a chance to work with Rivers. You work with, whoever else, Gail. And I'm just going through and I'm like, whoa, like this is so
Mhm.
cool. Even earlier than that, I mean, just seeing certain names that you had done projects with, I think that's so rad. Like just kind of being in that, immersed in that, probably pretty quickly. I would think.
Hmm. Yeah, it definitely happened fast. I feel very lucky. It's yeah, once we like sort of got into the actual world of the music industry, I feel like there's like this interesting little entry point that you sort of like realize, okay, like now I'm in the game, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff sort of just like starts happening. And I honestly don't even know. I feel like I don't even know what's happened over the last few years.
A lot. I mean, you got a gold record. You've done these huge tour. You're gonna go on tour with
Yeah,
like grandson. I mean,
I
so
know, I'm
sick.
so excited. Yeah.
Playing this like festival that people think isn't even real because the lineup is so insane.
I know. That's the craziest thing I think that's ever happened to me.
A lot of bands out of Jersey on that lineup too. I mean, that scene kind of
Hmm.
came out of that area, Jersey,
Yeah.
and everything else. So that's so
Yeah.
special with the when we were young. But I want to rewind a little quick. You got
Yeah.
signed with Atlantic Records a few years ago in 2019. How did that conversation begin, and like how were you kind of found by them?
Um, at a show, I threw a show at Good Times at Davy Wayne's. And a friend of a friend brought an A&R from Atlantic, and we packed the house out, and it was like an awesome show. And she loved it, and she saw the crowd's response and the line out the door and brought us into the office the next day. And honestly, I loved everybody that I met, and it was like a no questions. I love this company. I love these people. It feels like home. Like it was just a fit immediately.
Mhm. That's cool.
Yeah.
What an
Hmm.
achievement. Were you kind of, and that must have been a wild moment, right? I mean, you're at this major
Yeah.
label with all these, you know, the roster is insane of people that have been on the label for over the course of the years, and then they're interested in me and my music.
Yeah, I didn't believe them. I thought like first of all, I was like, there's no way that these people actually work for Atlantic. I was like, there's they must be working for some other company that's affiliated with Atlantic. Like,
Right,
there's
right.
no way that Atlantic Records wants anything to do with me because at the time I was literally just some no one playing some shows in LA. Which I still feel like hilariously, but um, yeah, I didn't believe them. I thought I even remember like when I was signing the deal, looking at the paperwork and being like, wait, like actually Atlantic Records? Like for real? They were like, yeah, what? Yeah,
That's cool.
crazy.
You remember
Hmm.
calling your mom and telling her about it?
Yeah. I mean, my mom was out here. She came out to the show. My mom came out to the last show we had before we signed to like we were doing a showcase at the Moroccan Lounge to sort of show some of the other people,
Hmm.
some of the other A&Rs, the project. And my mom was able to be out here for that and like meet my A&Rs, which was really cool.
That is cool. That
Hmm.
is really cool. And you put out
Hmm.
your EP. It's weird, 2 years ago now in 2020, but it was what the COVID had already begun at this point.
Yeah, big time for
So
sure.
did you have the record complete? Like, where were you at? Like when that happened towards, I mean, you signed with
Hmm.
Atlantic, you're gonna put an EP out, and then like everything stops, and you're like, okay, now what?
Yeah, I mean, we signed right before the pandemic and then it hit, and I was terrified to put out music for a really long time just because I think I was under the impression that I didn't want to take any attention away from some of the more important
Mhm.
global and societal issues that I think were
Sure.
being brought to the surface at the time. And so it was a big struggle to finally get some of the music that I'd been working on out. But I was able, thank God, to still work with my producer. We were like going into the studio fully gloved, fully masked, like not even being near each other. I was like in the vocal booth while he was producing. Um, and we finished some songs and we put out Overwhelmed, and the response was insane.
Yeah, to say the least, right?
Yeah.
Uh, was it kind of immediate? I mean, the response just, I mean, it's nuts. I mean, you have a gold record, and like we said, and just hundreds of millions of streams, and charting on the alt charts and the rock charts. Like, you put the song out, it didn't just initially just catch fire.
It definitely was quick. I mean, it was like gosh, I don't know, it's kind of like when you're at the beginning of a roller coaster and you're going like really, really slow, but you know that you're going up. And then like all of a sudden you realize that you're all the way at the top and then you drop and it's like, whoa. That's my metaphor for what it felt like. Yeah, I mean, it happened pretty quickly. The TikToks just started kind of rolling in, and then next thing we knew it, the label was like, let's throw gas on the fire. And
Right.
then it was on the radio. I don't even know. It all happened really fast. It was crazy.
Hearing your song on the radio for the first time, do you remember that?
Yeah, I cried hysterically in the car.
Did you really? That's so
yeah,
cool.
it was I screamed and cried. It was really emotional and really beautiful and really special. I was having a rough day and I was on my way to a session and I turned on the radio and there was my song when I got in the car and I just started bawling because it was like, what am I complaining about? Like, this is the life I've always wanted. Why have a bad day? Like, fuck that.
Exactly.
You know?
That's awesome. What?
Yeah.
I come from radio. I did radio for a long time. But just hearing that, it gives me the chills because I'm like, that's so cool. Because when you're at the radio station, you're playing records and you're playing songs from artists, like new artists, and it's like, does anyone even care? Like that I'm playing this record right now? But to hear that you're in the car and you hear that and you're just like, you just get so emotional. Like that means a lot to me. I just think that's so awesome to hear those stories.
Yeah, I care a lot. I mean, I still get like kind of emotional whenever, if randomly it pops up on like Alt Nation or something. I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, it's cool. I hope that feeling never goes away. If I ever get another song that is on the radio or whenever I get
when you get the next song.
Who knows? But who knows?
Let's be honest.
But when and if that ever happens again, I hope that feeling never goes away, and I hope that I can always appreciate all the little wins along the way.
I love it. I want to talk to you about your new record that you just put out.
Okay.
So tell me about it. The cover art is crazy. Like I think it's so like artsy and rad. Not only that, but I really like the last song on the record. I mean, all of them are rad, but I'm Not Sorry is such a cool song.
Thank you so much. I put out a record called If I Died, Would Anyone Care? And if you can't tell by the title, I've been having a little bit of a tough time mentally and emotionally, and I'm so grateful that I get to put that into my art and share it with people, and that people get to feel understood and like they're not alone, because I think, at least from the response I've been getting from some of the people that have been listening, it seems like other people feel similarly. And I just love that music is this thing we all get to connect over. And yeah, the songs I'm really proud of them. I was really excited to put this record out. It's like one of the first times that I am really excited to play the songs live, because I think they're easy to rock out to. And that's been a little tougher with some of my other music in the past. So yeah, I don't know.
I mean, the concept and everything behind the songs, that's super vulnerable, where you know, especially with having the success of Overwhelmed, and obviously a massive amount of eyes on you and ears on you. Were you worried about putting out such a, you know, emotionally, like such a deep record?
It's crazy because I still, for whatever reason, can't seem to understand or believe that anybody has eyes on me. It's like the hardest thing, I think, for me to come to terms with and really like grasp the idea that people are out there watching what I'm doing and listening to my music. And I mean, I think that's where the title was essentially born from, because I felt like, okay, I put out this record that like got all this radio play, all these streams. It got certified gold, but like, why do I still feel like nobody even knows who I am? And I don't know. It's like the song did well, but does anybody care about me? And not even like in a selfish way, just like, if I died, would anybody even give a fuck? Or would I just disappear and not be here anymore? And so, yeah, I guess there wasn't necessarily a fear of whether or not putting something out that vulnerable it wasn't that scary because I didn't think people were paying attention.
Mhm.
But they are, and I'm continuing to try to remind myself that they are. And the people that are paying attention, I hope that my music is helping them, because that is really, at the end of the day, all that I want.
Yeah, I mean, when I listen to it, because that's one of my biggest character defects. Like, I'm like, does anyone even like? I don't know why anyone cares about what I'm doing or me or whatever. And it's like
Yeah,
just listening to your story and like listen, especially with the last song on the record. I was like, wow, like this is such a powerful song.
thank you.
And I'm sure there's got to be, I'm just speaking from my own experience, like millions upon millions of other people that also sit in that same space where it's like, wow, like I guess, if she can get through it or she can write a song about it, that could help me maybe get through my issues
Hmm.
and kind of battle with that and figure out what's
Yeah,
going on. Like I think it's a really powerful record.
thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I've always been a huge advocate for authenticity and honesty in my music, because I think it's all I know how to do.
Hmm.
So it's if I'm not feeling amazing, then I think that really reflects in the music that I make. And clearly a lot of people feel the same way. So it's like, which is sad. But
Right.
I mean, it really is. I mean, I was seeing some of the comments on like my last video that I put out, and someone was saying like we should have like a Discord or something where we can all just get in and talk to each other, because so many people were in there like, I feel this way, I feel the same way, I'm this, I'm that. And it's nice to like see people coming together over shared hurt, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean
Hopefully
it's
lifting,
therapeutic,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
That's why
exactly.
people go to different support groups or meetings or
Mhm.
AA or whatever. It's because you're
Mhm.
bound a bunch of like-minded people and you could share your
Yeah.
feelings kind of in a safe space. I think the Discord thing is a great idea.
Yeah. I'm so like, I don't understand that world at all. I hear Discord and I just think like Web3, like
I
what's
didn't understand it
happening?
either. I thought it was like a video game
Yeah, I'm like,
thing.
what's going on? Help. But I do. I love the idea of just like everybody having a place to sort of connect and lift each other up, and whatever. Just a sense of community, I think, is so important, even if it's
Mhm.
online.
Yeah, I think it's huge online too. I mean, that's where everybody
Yeah.
is constantly, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Very cool. And it's well on that same kind of thread. I mean, that's why a festival like when we were young is such a big deal because
Hmm.
all of that like emotional music and people are like gravitating towards and latching on in the early 2000s for all of those type of songs, more in a poppy
Hmm.
sense, but in that same regard.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's essentially why everyone's been talking about it the way that they have. People are
Mhm.
feeling like, I mean, it's the first time in a long time that all of these bands are going to be in one place. And I think there's just a huge demographic and a whole generation, really, of people that
Yeah.
I hope and think are very excited to come together.
Oh yeah. People
Mhm.
are when I saw that, I thought it was fake. I was like, wait, what? Like every band I liked growing up as a kid are all at the same
Yeah.
space at one time. Like, what is going on?
Yeah. To be honest, I started thinking it was fake because of all the people on the internet saying it was. I was like, is this a meme? Like, what is going on here, guys?
Yeah, I thought it was too. I'm like, this has got to not be real. And then I actually
Yeah.
recently interviewed Casey from the Wonder Years, and they're playing the
Hmm.
show. And I was like,
Hmm.
asked him about it. I'm like, so I'm hearing a lot of stuff about this being fake. I'm like, off the record, like, what's going on? He goes, dude, it's happening.
It's totally happening. It's
It was just
totally
funny.
happening. It's so funny. I know. I know. The day that I came out, I was just getting like DM after DM after DM. Royal, tell us. Tell us, is it real? Please save us. I'm like, it's real,
Yeah.
guys. It's real.
Right, right.
Yeah.
They
Hmm.
might have to organize it more of like a Warp Tour type situation, but hey, that's
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
how they have to do it. I mean, there's too many bands to
Yeah.
play one by
No,
one,
totally.
but I mean, that's how a festival works. If you looked at a Coachella lineup, you wouldn't be like, all right, I get to see every band that's playing.
No, exactly. Exactly. I wish it
um,
worked like that. We need so much more time in our lives to be able to make that
oh
happen.
yeah, yeah, that would be like a 4-day show plus, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But that's so rad that you're doing that, and of course the grandson tour, and then you're coming. I just recently moved to Nashville from Southern California. I'm a born and raised San Diego kid, and
Oh,
I saw you're
cool.
playing at the Basement East, which is rad. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you're pretty excited about the grandson tour.
I am more excited. I am so excited. He has just been one of my biggest inspirations and sort of like big brothers through like the process of, I don't even know, becoming the project that I am right now. And I've looked up to him for so long, and it's just really special to me that he asked me to come.
Yeah, he's such a cool guy. I had a chance
Yeah.
to interview him, and he is like, yeah, he's so intelligent, and he's very like
Hmm.
open, and like he chatted for such a long time, and I'm like, gosh, this guy's like, he didn't have to do this. I mean, he's so
Yeah.
up here, and just like how nice he was, and everything else. So the fact that you get to tour with him, I'm sure that's just going to be such a great time.
He really is. He's the best. Yeah. I'm excited.
Very, very cool, and I really appreciate your time right now. Thank you so much for
Thank
doing
you.
this.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
I have one more quick question for you. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Yeah. I think create whatever the hell you want unapologetically all the time, and don't ever give a fuck what anybody else thinks about it, because it doesn't matter. And we're on this planet to enjoy and to create and to love ourselves and what we do. And other people's opinions are trash.
Bringing it backward.